to work on this furnace. I believe it is going to be a hydroflame furnace. I'm not real sure. I haven't seen it yet. Turned the furnace on, came out to the flue, listened to it. I can hear it. I can hear it striking. I can smell just a little bit of gas coming out of the exhaust. So I would say that this furnace is going to be dirty. Probably got something in the orifice. It's usually bugs, believe it or not. So gonna take you along. We have turned the gas off. Now I need to take this grill off so we can access the back of the furnace. Might as well just pull this furnace out where we can work on it. So we're going to unhook the wiring. Now, if you haven't been doing this for 25 years, you really should label your wires before you start taking them apart. Alright, now that we got the wires undone, so we will take the gas line loose next. It's always just a good practice to, whenever you're taking these gas lines loose, is to use a backup wrench so you're not putting a lot of pressure on something inside the furnace. This particular style furnace, which is actually a Suburban, hydroflame Suburban, same company I believe. This one here is not too critical the way it's this design, but still it's not a bad idea to back it up. A lot of times you'll think it's a lot of gas escapes when you take that line off, but you have to bleed the pressure off through the entire system. So depending on how your propane appliances are spread out, sometimes it takes a little while. Sometimes there's quite a bit of piping in these things. So it just depends how much piping is in your campers, just how the appliances are laid out. Alright, got the gas line loose. Now we're going to try to leave the case and just pull the furnace out of the case. We'll just remove that screw right there. There's a tag that says don't remove that screw unless you're servicing the furnace. So we'll see. It doesn't really make too much difference on this one, but sometimes if you got a bunch of ducts and stuff, DUCT ducts hanging all of it everywhere, it's way easier to just pull the inside out. Let's see if we can do that. there's the business part of the furnace. So we're gonna take it outside and hook it up out here at the truck and see what it does. I have my truck set up on just on the back of my truck. I have a test bench set up so that I can test furnaces and things. Hook up my gas line, cut the gas on. Now I've got 12 volt available right here on my truck. I just use jumper wires to twist our 2 blue wires, which are thermostat. That'll make the thing fire up. It did light. So, since it did light on the back of my truck, then we have to suspect there could be something wrong with the gas system. So I'm gonna go check gas pressure now. I've got a fitting made up around this gas line that I can hook my manometer to. Snug that up, hook up the tube to our manometer. Let me go cut that gas on and I'll show you the manometer. 11 to 14 water column inches is what you want your gas pressure to be. This is just barely over 10. Actually, and it's going down. It's now below 10. Thought it was funny when I unhooked this gas line a while ago. It was gurgling. There's some fluid in the line somewhere. Don't know exactly where, how it got there. Yeah, my meter's down to 9. And it continues to fall. Huh. That's weird. I'm gonna go light the cooktop and see what it looks like. Here, I'll let y'all look at that while I go do that. I lit two eyes. Look here. It's down to 6 and 7 water column inches. It's not enough to run that furnace. There's our problem. It's not a problem with the furnace. It's a problem with the gas system. We're gonna take the gas lines loose from the at the regulator, the LP regulator, and blow back through this line here. See what I get out of that line. That's not typical. I cut those eyes off and it's still what, like 7, almost 8 water column inches. Still not enough, not to run a furnace. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on. Pretty dark hole, I don't know. I don't think you're going to be able to see much. I'm going to take the regulator off the wall. Get some wrenches, get those gas lines off. I'm just going to blow through. I'm going to blow through all these lines. A lot of these gas lines don't have swivel ends, so you have to twist the whole hose. Which means you got to stretch it out. Let me go get my blow nozzle. I'm gonna blow through this line. Put a rag over the end of the hose, blow through the other end. That way, I want to see if something comes out. I want to see what it is. Okay, can't blow through that way. See about this way. Yep. Don't think there was anything in that one. Let's look at the rag. Nope, there's nothing in that one. Let's get the regulator off of there. We're gonna have to take that line off underneath so that we twist it off the regulator. The way this one's set up. This hose does have a swivel end on this end down here. Just gonna dump it out and see if anything comes out. Oh yeah, it's full of oil. Here's what I just got out of that gas line. It's full of oil. Now we can go inside and blow back through the main line. But I'd say that's where our gurgling noise was coming from. Got a little bit of oil out of the main line too, but not much. But I'm going to change this regulator. The only way that I know that you can get oil in your propane system is if somewhere you got your tanks filled, you know, they use pumps to pump the propane into your tanks. Those pumps have oil in them. The seals go bad in those pumps sometimes. I mean, it gets pumped a lot of different times, so it can happen. I guess it could happen not only when they're putting it in your tank, but at other times in the process too. But you get oil in your propane tanks, and the regulator does not like that oil. So I'd say this oil regulator is damaged, so I'm going to replace it. And we got the oil out of the lines. We should be able to put the furnace back in. It should work okay. So gonna make sure I have a regulator, or should have one, and we're gonna get that thing changed, and then we'll see what happens from there. Alright, got our new propane regulator. Finished getting the old one off there. I blew through that other line that we took off the bottom of the regulator. Got a little bit more oil out of that, but I guess that's where the majority of the oil is at. lot of times you do have to change the mount plates from your old regulator to your new one. That's the case here too. Got our mount plates switched around. Now we're going to start putting it back together. No reason to put any sealer on these hoses. Those are JIC fittings, which means they seal internally. Because a lot of these hoses don't have swivel ends, it's kind of tough to get them started when you have to actually spin the device you're putting them to instead of spinning the hose. It's doable though. Let's put our other supply hose on first. On this side, because we have this hose off on both ends, we can spin the whole hose. Alright, now the hose that goes on the bottom of the regulator has a pipe thread, so you do have to put sealer on it. And since we are dealing with orifices, plural, we're going to use liquid Teflon, not putty tape. Because anytime there's an orifice in the system, do yourself a favor, don't use putty tape, because little pieces of that putty tape will come loose from your connection, and they will migrate until they find a little bitty orifice, and then they will get stuck in that orifice, and there you go, something ain't gonna be working. Go get I have to get a bigger crescent wrench. On the other end of this supply hose is another JIC, so no sealer required on it. I've got two eyes lit on the stove. It's still almost 16 inches of water column, so I'm actually going to adjust that regulator down a little bit. I don't think I'm going to show you that, because that's if you don't know how to do that, I am not going to show you how. It's as simple as that. I've got two eyes lit on the stove, and we got 14 water column inches. And the reason I didn't show you how to adjust that regulator, because if you don't have a manometer, you cannot adjust that regulator. You can't just adjust it all willy-nilly. You gotta have the proper tools. So I just chose not to show you how to do that. We'll cut those eyes off now and reinstall the furnace. I wished I'd have checked the pressure before I took the furnace out, but that's okay. It's not hard to get in and out. After I looked at it, I went in and pulled the outside case of the furnace out and slide that furnace down in there. put it all in as one unit. I just think it'd be easier. Alright. Move you guys back a little bit. Well, all you do is just work that furnace back in that hole, and a lot of times it's fairly easy to well, you hope it's going to be fairly easy to get it on the flue pipe back there. I'm actually going to go ahead and hook the wires up right now, just because with the furnace out a little bit extra, it just makes them more accessible. Got all the wire nuts on, the wire connections are done. Work it all back in there. Reposition my light so I can see what I'm doing. Try and get the flue back, the flue pipes back in the furnace where they belong. Just like that. Just like that. Alright. Put our screws back in the floor, or that hold the case to the floor. Alright. Hook our gas line back up. Alright, I'm going to go cut the gas on. We're going to start doing some leak testing. I'll show you in here, I'm not going to show you outside. This is just too hard to film. But you'll get the gist of it. All you do is spray your fittings with soapy water and give it a few minutes. If you got a leak, if you got a little leak, you'll have a bunch of little bubbles that'll make foam. If you got a big leak, it makes gigantic bubbles. I'll take my flashlight outside, and I already sprayed my fittings outside. I'm gonna take my flashlight outside, go look at those, Then we're going to test fire it. I don't know if you'll be able to hear me, but it lit right up. So we're going to button it up. Well, there you have it. Thought we were working on a furnace, but actually we were working on a propane system. Yeah, kind of messed up by pulling the furnace out, but in my defense, typically I will light at least 2 of the burners on the cooktop, and usually that's a pretty good indication of what the flame looks like, is if we have sufficient gas and sufficient pressure. Well, it fooled me this time, because we obviously did not have good pressure. So, but it, I mean, cost us 15-20 minutes to pull the furnace out, test it on the back of the truck, know for a fact that it does work, and then fix the problem, put the furnace back in. So, no huge loss. We're gonna call this one a wrap, folks. It's raining again, so I'll do this outro video indoors. Thanks for watching. Please, if you like my videos, subscribe to my channel, and give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, give me a comment, let me know what you think. Is there something I should be doing different? Just let me know. Alright, thanks for watching.